And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. It is a TGIF version of a show here, of course. Always love Fridays. It's not Monday, it's the weekend here, too. And, of course, a lot of cool things coming up. The NFC, AFC championship games this weekend for pro football. We'll have Super Bowl 58 set in Las Vegas, or I say the big game. Can't use the word Super Bowl, I guess. But it is a podcast. You never know what's going to happen here on the Backstage Pass presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and, of course, the CadenGordonShow.com. And, of course, jewelry by Tommy. We'll talk more about that as a new sponsor came on today for Valentine's Day coming up. Get your orders in at Jewelry by Tommy. We'll have an email address throughout the broadcast today. Pleased to welcome on 2023 Canadian Country Music Hall of Famer. You might know him from a little group called the Roadhammers back in the day. Jason McCoy to the show. Jason, what's up, man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good, brother. It's always good. We're almost CRS time. Country Radio Seminar coming up here at the end of February, and the Omni Hotel's calling again.
There you go. It's always good to be in Nashville. CRS is amazing. We got so many great memories of CRS, playing AIBA for all the talent buyers and all that kind of stuff. We lived in Nashville for, I was there for about 15 years, I guess. And we just decided to, get back to our roots in Canada here. But we're down there quite a bit. But it's a great town. I mean, it's the second biggest city in Canada, right? It's a bunch of people living down there. But so you're based in Texas, so your home is in Beaumont, which is home of George Jones, which is arguably the real home of country music right there, pal.
George Jones, Clay Walker, Tracy Byrd, Mark Chestnut, just a few guys.
Oh man, whatever's in the water, I'm drinking. I gotta tell you, man, you're talking about the Roadhammers there. I played the part of a real Roadhammer last night. We just slept in the ditch, literally in the bus, because we blew a drive shaft. Wow. So we just got into town here. We're in Camrose, Alberta. We're playing tonight, sold out crowd, which is fantastic. But yeah, we're kind of sleeping in our office last night.
That's how it's good to do what you got to do sometimes and patch those things up, man. You never know when you're going to break down too. Hey, just talk about your career. And I mentioned there at the top of the show, I mean, Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame. And that's just pretty cool because any Hall of Fame is got to be just amazing out there too. To get that news back, Jason, when you got that news, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
I was sitting on the sofa with my wife and the CCMA called. And before I picked it up, I saw the number come up because I know the CCMA folks and said CCMA. And I turned to my wife and I said, have we paid our CCMA membership dues? Like, do you think they're calling for us to renew? Like, maybe I'm in trouble here because I haven't paid my membership dues. But no, and then I answered the phone and they said I've been nominated. And it was, you always hear those words like, oh, this is so surreal and stuff like that. Man, I never really knew what that meant until all this happened.
When you talk about that group, man, I'm going back to 2005. And of course, the album comes out, big hit on country radio. And for all the truck drivers out there, for everybody, I mean, I'm a Roadhammer. Such a hit for you guys. I mean, Eastbound and Down. I loved everything about that record. Give me some of the best memories of that particular record, and specifically, that song went viral for everybody.
I got to say, recording that record was a lot of fun. I was going to give you a little tour of the theater here backstage.
Go for it.
They got some music on. That's okay. The big things about doing that record were the very first record was that it was so freeing. Like, we didn't have any preconceived ideas, weren't planning on anything in particular, and we just went for it. If it felt right, we were going to do it. Our cover of Eastbound and Down. So hang on a sec here, I'll see if I can get the house music killed. Ian, can you kill the music? We're gonna kill the music. I'll give you a little tour of the stage here, but it's all right. It's a sold out show tonight. Tomorrow we're having a great time on the Great Canadian Road Trip. There you go. Lost my voice a little bit here from hollering and caterwauling and stuff. It was beautiful theater here in Camrose, and Great Canadian Road Trip right there. Chris from Doc. That's all our fancy little pictures up there. But yeah, it's going very well. But back to that record, man. It just felt so good to just say, hey, something like Overdrive. We need a song like that. Let's just write it and do it.
And that's the cool thing about it is somebody at that time, and I know I'm broadcast out there up the I-25 corridor from that particular town, Ski Town, up into Pueblo, Colorado, and all that in the U.S. And a lot of truckers drive that highway and go north. So when they were commenting on the song yesterday, I was like, well, hell, it's been the last, 150 years of this nation, whatever the birthday is now for us here in North America. So I talked to a lot of truck drivers, and they want to hear great country music. And that's just a kind of a pattern you guys were in at that time, because a lot of it was changing. The music industry always changes too. Now we're in streaming, and back in the day it was vinyl records and CDs, and that was just such a great album back in the day too, that a lot of people still clamor for those songs today.
It's incredible. Like, we set out, our goal was to create, the ultimate driving record, I guess you'd say, or a CD we'd want to put in and drive to. And that was the only criteria for those songs, was, did it fit that record? Did it fit that feel? Did it fit that freedom? And the thing was, at the time, I'd just come off of I think it was 2001. I was Male Artist of the Year up here, and I didn't know what to do, because you're saying the industry's always changing. And it was Shania and the Mavericks, and it was like, one's too country for radio and one's too pop. And we've always had that argument in country radio, right? Which is fine, because I think it's healthy, because country is very wide and accepting. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was approached by CMT at the time. They said, well, what's your next move? I said, well, maybe I'd like to put out like a Traveling Wilburys, like a trucker record kind of thing, just a one-off. And it just popped. It went huge. And they did a show on it. And actually, Jason Priestley from 90210, a fellow Canadian, he produced one of the series for us as well. So it was kind of a magical time, kind of wild what was going on. But we had a great time doing it. And then that's just led to this fantastic career. And now we're coming in on 20 years.
Crazy enough as it is. And you've also done some great solo projects out there too. Talk about those and a little bit of the news coming up now. We're in 2024, so brand new year. People making New Year's resolutions. What's on the docket now for you, and of course the Hammers, and maybe some solo projects out there for you?
Oh man, it's just it's one of those things that it's trying to find time to fill all your dreams, right? It's a wonderful problem to have, I guess. But I've been writing for the solo stuff, writing for new Hammer music. We're working on all of that, of course. But with the 20th anniversary coming up, we got a bit of a reunion tour. I wouldn't say reunion, because we haven't gone anywhere, but a celebration of that 20 years, And it's kind of great being able to look back at a set list and being able to put all those songs in there. And we don't go out and make a record every 12 months, we're several years between records. And I think that's kind of healthy, right? I think you need to take a little time, and then whatever inspires you in that gap, that's the right thing, as opposed to just chasing something. Because there's so many great things on radio right now that inspire us, everything from, I don't know, Bailey Zimmerman and Jelly Roll and Zach Bryan, all these guys getting real rootsy, right? Like, when I was a kid, I loved listening to everything from Johnny Horton, really spirited stuff. And of course, George Jones. I used to fall asleep with a George Jones greatest hits, the epic years, on cassette. And I listened to it so much, it stretched the tape, right? So, I mean, people who grew up with cassettes, all about that. We want to create music that makes people want to listen that much. And that's our goal. I don't know if we can hit that, but that's the goal.
Yeah, you look back at it, and the storytelling aspect of it is so important, Jason, over time, and how the industry, I mentioned, has changed from those cassettes back in the day. People are like, yeah, I'm old. I got gray on the beard too. I'm like, yes, we remember cassettes in cars at the time. And then we go to CDs. Then we get to, the vinyl records back in the day too, and how important the storytelling aspect is in a song even today.
Storytelling has become even more important because, I've been a big fan of country radio my whole life, just like you have. My daughter's 17. So, wow. She comes to me with these playlists. We actually share a Spotify account. So I just listen to what she's listening to. Right. And like the Red Clay Strays, I mean, it's not country, but it's rootsy. It's 4 or 5 guys with guitars doing it, and it's great. Yeah. And Zach Bryan. And then you got Coulter Wall and these artists like this, I don't listen to that all the time, but what I'm loving is that my daughter's 17 and her peers, they search out, like they don't, Pyro's great and all that stuff and the big show. And, that's great. We love that. The spectacle, right? They're looking for some seed of really genuine honesty from those artists. Because like Zach Bryan doesn't do others. He's not jumping on there just to be him. If radio plays him, great. But isn't that like the way it was with a lot of artists that we listened to growing up? Merle Haggard put out singles. It wasn't like radio played them all. He got into jazzy stuff in the 80s. They explored, they experimented. They didn't chase the format. And I think that's why people love listening to your podcast, because you highlight things that maybe traditional streams can't. And I think that's really important. I think it's healthy for music in general.
No doubt about it too, brother. I tell you, we're going to come back, talk a little music, talk about some more performances, and of course that 20-year I can't believe it's been 20 years since that album and that song came out too. What's in store? Jason McCoy here on the Backstage Pass. Quick time out here for our sponsors, Bangtail Whiskey, and of course our friends at the Caden Gordon Show. .com, today's best country mix. And you know what? Hey, Jason, I tell you this, everybody's got a significant other, right? So Valentine's Day is coming up, and I tell people around the corner, if you're looking for that perfect gift for your spouse, friend, or family member, hey, Jewelry by Tommy. Jewelry by Tommy has you covered. Email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. BUEHRLE, Burley System at yahoo.com today to order. And everybody loves those Valentine's Day gifts. I know I do too. And jewelry for the significant other is the best thing to do right now in Jewelry by Tommy. Of course, our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and the Caden Gordon Show. Coming back, Jason McCoy here, KKTC True Country 99.9 and out there at hightidecountry.net and powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com as we count down to CRS 2024, February 28th to March the 1st at the Omni Hotel. We'll be there interviewing Nashville's best and brightest. And hey, Jason makes a cameo appearance. He'll be on the show there at CRS 2024. Coming right back. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
The Caden Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at thecadengordonshow.com. Again, that is thecadengordonshow.com.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show, Jason McCoy joining us here. The Backstage Pass, again, powered by that very website, the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And, of course, countdown to CRS 2024 is on February 28th to March 1st. Omni Hotel, Nashville, Tennessee, interviewing Nashville's best and brightest of who's there. Looking forward to talking to them. In the past, we've had Tracy Lawrence, Shenandoah, and a whole lot more, and probably Shenandoah coming back this year. As we're presented by our friends over at Jewelry by Tommy, and, of course, out there, Bangtail Whiskey and the Caden Gordon Show. .com out there too, today's best country mix. I wanted to ask you, Jason, about a great song that was 2020, I believe this one, when it came out around the springtime there, We Are One. And I heard this one and it always stuck with me. I loved this song. I love what you did with it. The arrangement, the entire instrumentation was fantastic. This was a great song and great writing.
Oh, thank you so much. A friend of mine, Jim, he's a kind of into marketing now, but when he was younger, he's a musician and sought me out in our hometown. He owns the hockey team in our hometown there, the Barrie Colts. And he's just loved music, even though he's, gotten into business now. And so when this pandemic kind of shut everything down, we were talking about watching all this stuff on the news. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we could record a song and have people record it at their own home studios all around the world, and just little bits and put it together. And so we did. I said, I'd love to have the Harlem Gospel Choir on. It'd be really cool. And my daughter was 15, 14 at the time. She found the website and a contact number, and she pretty much had the phone dial. And she goes, well, call them. So I did, and they do it. And then all these other friends of ours from all around the world, Haley Jensen from Australia, all our friends from, you name it. Just we had people from China. We had different artists from around Canada, all through the U.S. And so it was really amazing to kind of see everything come together through just home studios and technology like that. It's been amazing.
Hey, talk about, I thought one of the best albums that came out, you put out, a while back. It's been a few years. We talk about, the Hammers music and everything, but you put out a solo project called Everything. And I loved a lot of the different songs off of there too. And I'm sure you probably last time you talked about this particular album, but I remember I'd Rather Be Happy Than Right. And of course, another one off there, I'd Still Have Everything. And She's Good For Me. Great album, great songs on there, something for everybody. What do you remember best about the project? And I'm still today, do y'all take some of those songs and maybe incorporate into a live show?
Oh, I do. Everything is a song about what happened in Nashville during the floods. And we had we wrote the song, I'd Rather Be Happy Than Right, the day before. I was writing with my good friend Tom Shepard, who wrote Redneck Yacht Club and all these big hits. And we usually get together and write funny songs like Rather Be Happy Than Right. but it was that morning that the floods hit Nashville. And, I was watching on CNN there, the helicopters flying around and showing the flood zones. And usually those things they show are somewhere over there, somewhere away, but this was right around the corner in these neighborhoods that I would drive through all the time. And I'll never forget, there was a little river outside Nashville, a little hamlet of maybe 5-6 houses. And the only thing, these little cinder block squares are the imprints of the houses. And the guy was standing there with his wife, had a baby in his arms, one hanging on, his daughter clinging to his leg. And the reporter was just trying to get a sound bite. That's what they do, I guess. But she said, you've lost everything. The house, the car, all this stuff is gone. What are you going to do? And he said, well, yeah, we lost the house and the truck. And but he looked at his kids and his wife and kind of gave him a little hug and said, I lost everything, but I still have everything. So I'm good. And I was like, let's write that. And that's sure how we felt. There was that real spirit, that American spirit of just, we'll pick up. That's just stuff. As long as we have each other, then we're good to go. And that song meant a lot to me because of that man's story.
No doubt, too. There's another great one off that record, one of your most streamed out there. I remember top songs, title, She's Good For Me, which I thought was another one that really can wrap it up just in a nutshell to say, you know what? I'd be a fool if I lost her. And that's pretty much the title of that song. When you find a significant other you stick with, that's the person you go through life with, ups and downs, right?
Absolutely. I've been with my wife for, we're coming up on 25 years here in May.
Congrats.
And together, well, thank you. We've been together a lot longer than that. So we were just, high school sweethearts kind of thing. And I got lucky and she got stuck with me, but that's all good. So, hey, I got to ask you, you're the sports guy here. I want to know what you think of the big game coming up. They revealed the logo. A lot of people saying that's kind of tipping the hand of maybe who they think is going to be hosting or who's going to be in the game. Who's going to Vegas? Who you tell me, man.
Man, I tell you what, I'm mostly one of my friends do the morning show out there with KKTC. She's a Niners fan. I'll say this: the Niners at home with Brock Purdy. I love the way the Lions are playing right now too, and Dan Campbell's been such a huge inspiration for them. So for me, Jason, I got to go San Francisco. The other side too right now, Lamar Jackson is playing at the MVP level, so I got to go Niners Ravens coming up for the big game.
Okay, all right. Well, and did you see anything in the logo there on the ball they did? Was there anything kind of foretelling there?
I didn't see anything foretelling there. I just kind of looked at some of the things, like you said, skeptical kind of there too. But I think it would be a great, like, America story, like the underdog. You gotta kind of pull for the Detroit Lions after 30 years of just being in the doldrums. I mean,
I come near the city of broken hearts. Hey, we got the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? So we haven't cup since '67. If they won the cup in Toronto in my lifetime, they could just power that city for the next 30.
I was thinking of a song off your album too. Speaking of this, well, I guess if San Francisco doesn't get there, because 3 of the last 5 or so, they've been in the NFC Championship game and lost the Super Bowl at the same time. They're with different quarterbacks, and this Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, has really come on and really made himself into something now. But there's a song, and I kind of put it through there. It's a different meaning for some people. For me, I guess I can take it for what it's worth. Off that album, Everything, I guess Detroit would be experiencing a little bit of heartache if they don't make it. Talk about that song and just a little bit about where it came from.
Titles, I love it, man. Yeah, they might be experiencing a little heartache. Country music kind of lends itself to being a sport.
Talk about that tune on the record and just kind of the little backstory of that one. Heartache from Everything.
Well, Heartache is I love country shuffles, and they're just kind of one of those things that says country, right? And you just don't hear a lot of those on radio anymore. And I was really influenced by the Mavericks, and before that, all of the, all those great country shuffles and things like that. But and that record was made more it was really, really country, like really traditional, if you like that stuff, which is, like I said, I grew up on. But other songs on that record are kind of reflective of a little bit rootsy. I think we did Old Chunk of Coal, the old Billy Joe Shaver song on there, if I'm not mistaken, that record. So, it really, like, to record a record for me, I have to feel like some country roots to it. I have to feel some connection, and that's all it is. It's got to be honky tonk. I love honky tonk records.
Yeah.
Like if it feels like there's neon nearby, I can cut it.
Yeah, that's it, man. Neon's becoming a popular title for most songs today too, especially with this being new music released Friday today too. Definitely same time. A good buddy who endorsed my show is Randall King. He put out a brand new album today too. And I wanted to ask you about that before I take my next time out. But this 90s country sound coming back, this thirst or this hunger for it, like people are ready to get that George Jones, Clay Walker, T-Bird kind of feel, Mark Chestnut, and you're seeing artists now do that. Bryce Leatherwood, one of my guests coming up next week, Zach Top, who's killing it right now at radio. Randall King, I mentioned that name. That's a good thing for the industry. I want to get your opinion on that.
Well, I think Cole Swindell doing the remake of Jody Messina's, Heads Carolina, the remake of that. I think what you're seeing with, Mark Chestnut's at Clint Black's at celebrating 35 years since Killing Time. All these shows are selling out for these guys. And the reason being is because, country music we were talking about before, it goes through these eras and these divisions. That was just one of those eras where everybody was firing on all cylinders in the same engine. It wasn't really fragmented. I mean, you had Shania coming in; it was really pop, which is fine, but it still fit alongside Brooks and Dunn, Neon Moon. And it's just because the production and the players and everything were all kind of at this apex of everybody single-mindedly focused on this really great, like it was like a vein of gold running through the radio stations. And it just hit, and the 90s was also a simpler time, and you're really starting to see, what we have, MySpace and stuff like that. We weren't all stuck to our computers, right? So nightclubs are a big thing, line dance, and all these things that were just societal that just kind of evolved out of that era of music. And I think it created so many core memories in all of us going to these great concerts. I remember the first time I saw Brooks and Dunn or got the cassette, Brand New Man, I put it in. And it was like, this is the beginning of a thing. Like there, you could feel you're on the tip of a wave as a fan, like Garth Brooks, all that stuff. I remember you're talking with CRS. I was there the night they launched David Lee Murphy with Party Crowd. And I was at the MCA ballroom, and it was just like, this really feels like all the labels are excited about the music, not just making money off the music. They were excited about the artists. They were like, this is our guy. This is our girl. We love this song. Have you heard song number 3? Have you heard that? We were excited about it. And it goes back to that true nature of that little gem of sincerity. And that was in every artist had that. Do you remember in the 80s when everybody was listening to metal and I grew up on country. I didn't really listen to metal, but in high school on everybody's binder, you'd write your AC/DC logo or Van Halen. It was all, everybody had their sound, but it was within a certain garden. And we had that in the 90s. It was magic. That's magic. And country, more than any other genre, gets those little bits of magic every once in a while. And we're in another one right now. It just looks a little different. We're very lucky to have that for this format.
No doubt about it. So we're going to come back after this quick timeout, and we'll talk about Wheels, which was a great album the Hammers put out back in 2014, the Road Hammers, and one in particular, we'll get the story from Jason Mudd. It featured Jeffrey Steele back in the day, too. We'll talk about that. And, of course, Jason, I always say for the ladies out there, too, you got to buy them jewelry, right? You just have to buy them jewelry here. And right now, it's around the corner, Valentine's Day coming up, a perfect gift for the spouse, friend, or family member. Jewelry by Tommy. It's got you covered. Burley System at yahoo.com to order today. BUEHRLE, Burley System at yahoo.com to order jewelry right now. Jewelry by Tommy. Do it and tell them, we told you to here from the Backstage Pass. Quick timeout for our friends. KKTC, True Country, 99.9, a great Road Hammer station out there, too. We love playing the music. And, of course, out there, HighTideCountry.net and powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Quick timeout. Stay tuned.
The Caden Gordon Show, today's best country mix, is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thecadengordonshow.com for more information on the show.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And of course, back here on the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com, and our guest, Jason McCoy. We lost him, formerly of the Road Hammers, but of course, get out there, support their music out there too across all those digital platforms. Let me say, one of my new sponsors today, Valentine's Day is coming up around the corner. Looking for that perfect gift for your spouse, friend, or family member. Jewelry by Tommy has you covered. Email burleysystem@yahoo.com today to order. BUEHRLE system@yahoo.com. Jewelry by Tommy will get you covered. Our thanks to Bangtail Whiskey, and of course out there at our friends over at KKTC True Country 99.9, and of course out there too at hightidecountry.net, and always the Sports Guys podcast.com and the CadenGordonShow.com. Today's best country mix. We got him back, Jason McCoy, here on the Backstage Pass. Hey, let's go back to the album Wheels that you guys put out. Another fantastic project, and specifically, Jason, that song called Mud, featuring Jeffrey Steele, one of you guys' most requested and streamed songs. Where did this one come from? A little backstory.
Well, I was going to write with, Jeff's been a good friend of the band, and over the years, he's written everything. He wrote the soundtrack to everything we love, More recently, I guess Eric Church, Stick That in Your Country song. And he's also a guy who can write big hits, but, he's also a guy who likes to try different things. And one of the ways he does things differently is how he lives his life. Most of the time when you're in Nashville, you say, hey, let's get together and write tomorrow. What time do you want to meet? Well, usually they say 10 o'clock. It's usually in the morning. So with Jeff, it's usually 10 at night. And so we were writing, and I said, we've written songs about 18 wheels, 2 wheels, you name it. It's everything, right? We wrote the song Wheels together. But I said, who doesn't like to walk past a mud puddle, even as an adult, and think maybe I should just, come on. Should probably jump in it a little bit, right? So, and we've been playing a lot of mud fests and things like that, and a lot of, tractor pulls, and it's always playing in the mud. So it was a no-brainer. We were just in there being silly and drank too much coffee and just got that low, mud. It was perfect. The best part about that was shooting the video. I got to, get my son and daughter out in the farm there, and I said, okay, go play in the mud. And they're like, for real? I'm like, yeah. You go have fun, get dirty. We're going to have a good time.
Love that album. Of course, Wheels out there too across all the platforms. And I loved Steve Earle. I got to go back to the same record because I loved Hillbilly Highway. And I had to ask you about this one too. Just another great song out there too. That was country. Of course, it featured Steve Earle too. Tell us about this one too for the fans that may have never heard that.
You know what? Our version of Hillbilly Highway is one of my favorite. I love it. I love Steve Earle because he's he's that true storyteller. He's exactly what we all think of him as. He's the American Songbook 2.0. And the thing about Road Hammer music is it's got to have that heartbeat, and he certainly set the bar, like Nowhere Road and all these records. And actually, the first talent contest I was ever in was in 87, 88, something like that, and I won. And MCA Records were one of the sponsors, and they gave me a Reba record, a George Strait record, and Guitar Town by Steve Earle. That was the vinyl. That was the prize. And I was signed to MCA Canada not long after that. So it was certainly amazing to be part of that whole cycle, and then record a Steve Earle song like that. It was a big treat.
All right, so I got to go back to another one too. It's called Haulin' Ass. It was from one called The Squeeze, which was out there too. I get the backstory of this one too, because another great song too. We all say those words every now and then. We say Haulin' Ass on an everyday basis when somebody asks you, "What's up?" Oh, same old, Haulin' Ass.
Haulin' Ass. You know what? That's the best I've ever written. I wrote it with my hammer brother Chris Byrne. We were out writing and couldn't come up with nothing, so we went to the coffee shop and I guess I had too many coffees, and we're on the way back to the house. And he said, "Man, you're really hauling ass." I said, "Boom, here we go." We got back to the house. The song's 3 minutes and 10 seconds long. I think it took us 2 minutes to write it. Wow. But it's lyrically, it's the best song I've ever written, and I love it. It's a lot of fun, and the crowd loves to sing it back.
Of course, that's off the album The Squeeze, and also too, I know you worked with Tim Hicks as well, featuring that one called One Horse Town. I love listening to that one off the album The Squeeze too.
Yeah, Tim's been a long-time friend of the band and just such a great Canadian artist. And he's in Nashville right now working on new music, of course. But One Horse Town was something we did for Coors up here. We did a concert series, and we go to different towns, and it was called One Horse Town. So we wrote the theme song for that, and we got to perform it at the shows, and it was a lot of fun. But anytime you get to collaborate with artists, especially like Tim and people like that, it's a big treat because we've got some fantastic artists all throughout country, and just being part of the community. When you get to collaborate like that, you stretch a little bit, and it's a big treat for the artist and the listener. You get something new.
No doubt about it, too. Well, I'll tell you, there's something new here. You may have played this game before. You may not have, too. We like to do a little thing called rapid fire. So we throw out a series of funny questions that we do here. And it's just always fun to get to know you more on a personal basis. All right. So we talked about the industry being healthy. This female movement now going crazy. Lainey Wilson, Lindsay L., Ashley McBride, Carly Pierce. Thoughts on this female movement now? I want to get your opinion.
Lindsay L's keeping it real, huh? Holy smokes. She knows how to party on and off stage, apparently, but it's all right. I think we've got, we were talking about the 90s. We were talking about, Patty Loveless, Jody Messina, all that kind of stuff. We've got that firepower now again in the female artists, and they really got something to say. And boy, we're listening. It's great.
No doubt about it, too. All right, we talked about a little football, too. I know baseball season's coming up here. Now, is it the Toronto Blue Jays for you, or is there another team that does it for you in baseball?
It used to be Montreal Expos, but they're not there anymore. So I guess it's the Blue Jays. I remember when the Blue Jays won the World Series there back in the 80s. I was in high school. It was a big deal. So that was the Cito Gaston era, but I'm all about it. So, Jays, we're doing it again.
They got a good young team, too, and still making some impact signings for this offseason, too.
Oh,
all right, give me a top. Say it again.
Well, they're not spending money like some of your teams.
True.
But you guys got $1 billion between two players on. We don't have
for the Dodgers. That's going to be a boomer bust for LA, no doubt. Shohei Ohtani and the Yamamoto pitcher from Japan.
And spend a lot. You're going to spend a lot on T-shirts at the Ball Diamond. I know that.
And concession stands. Get ready for that. And your ticket prices if you don't want nosebleed seats out there too. Top 2 or 3 favorite movies of all time, no matter what genre. What'd you watch? What do you like?
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I was a kid, and it took me about 4 times to watch it all the way through without falling asleep. Any Which Way But Loose, just because he had an orangutan. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And El Camino. Is it El Camino? Yeah, the other Clint. It's all Clint Eastwood all the time.
Clint Eastwood, yes.
Why would you? Just pick 3 Clint Eastwood movies and we're fine.
You're good there.
And
all right.
The Dewey Cox story. That's pretty good.
That's another good one, too. First song ever to sing live on stage when you took a microphone.
What is that?
First song ever to sing live on stage when you got in front of a microphone.
No joke. I was 12 years old. I was at my little hometown mini fest we had on February 14. It was around this time. And it was my dad's guitar, and I was 12 years old, and I sang, If Drinking Don't Kill Me, Your Memory Will.
I love it. Favorite foods when you guys are on the road? What does the band kind of want to get after?
I would say pasta. We got to do it up like hockey players, man. Got to get the energy. Got to get put the foil on, get out there. It's a fight, right? Hamburger and fries is pretty hard to beat that. But we're talking 2 eggs over hard, bacon, hash browns, white toast every morning. Start the day off right.
I love that too. All right, toppings on a Jason McCoy pizza. What goes on it?
Only until recently it was no pineapple, but now it is. I'm all about it. I'm all about the tropics. We're getting fancy here. So we're talking just regular meat lovers pizza with some pineapple, because I'm also Scottish. So I'm like, just give me everything you can that's free. Like if there's free, like give me free stuff, right? And then maybe put the pineapple on if it doesn't cost too much.
Hawaiian pizza, no doubt about it. All right, if Jason McCoy was not a country musician or big time band, the Roadhammers, what other career occupation would he be doing?
Well, my dad always had airplanes. My sister just retired from Air Canada as a captain. So I did get my pilot's license when I was younger. I would consider being a pilot, but I just couldn't sit still that long. I don't think so. The world's a safer place to have me on the ground.
I love that's true. We want you on the ground. Hey, best of luck with the show tonight too. He's one of a kind. Love his music out there. The Roadhammer's been around for a long time. I'm a Roadhammer. Hope you guys are too. We are at KKTC. True Country, the one, the only 2023 Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame, Jason McCoy. Hey, congrats on that. Hey, best of luck 2024. Hope you enjoyed the chat, brother, and let's do this again one day, no doubt.
Can't wait. Going to be playing the Hall of Fame in Calgary February 2nd, so I can't wait for that. Thank you, Brandon, for all you do, and thanks for the time today.
You got it. Jason McCoy here on the Backstage Pass, again powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com, also out there at HighTideCountry.net, and our friends KKTC True Country. We'll see you Monday morning with Shelly in the morning too, playing some music there, supporting more artists, some great shows coming up next week. And Zach Top right here on the Backstage Pass, the most added song to country radio, called Sounds Like the Radio too as well, coming up next week here on the platform. We'll see you soon. Thanks to all our sponsors. Have a great weekend. Take care.